ahead, ride it. On a trip, you a good co-pilot. Seems like we're a little misguided. Keep looking, but we still can't find it. So go ahead, baby, just ride it. You know me, you've been solid. I'm here till you find a new body. I'm here till you find a new hobby. I don't get emotional, no more. Fuck me like you love me, don't call no more. Put them in above me while I'm gone. Guess I was only meant to see you later on, no. Don't put my name in your phone, no. I don't feel the way I'm grown. Only feel it when I get home, no. That way it ain't really known. Play me like an Xbox, treat me like a fresh stop. I don't even know where you're going. Been working in a sweatshop, waiting on the text box. I just cannot be alone. I can't call you home, but I'll ask you to come over. Now it won't be long until me and you can feel closer. Baby, go ahead, ride it. On a trip, you a good co-pilot. Seems like we're a little misguided. Keep looking, but we still can't find it. So go ahead, baby, just ride it. You know me, you've been solid. I'm here till you find a new body. I'm here till you find a new hobby. I don't get emotional, no more. Fuck me like you love me, don't call no more. Put them in above me while I'm gone. Guess I was only meant to see you later on, no. Don't put my name in your phone, no. I don't feel the way I'm grown. Only feel it when I get home, no. That way it ain't really known. It's a lot of shit I won't say to ya. Easier for me to say screw ya. Got a lot on your plate now, do ya? Transparent, I can see right through ya. Got a lot of bags with you from back home. You ain't tryna save face while your mask on. You ain't tryna stay in place, you a bulldozer. You finish at the job and run me right over. Baby, go ahead, ride it. On a trip, you a good co-pilot. Seems like we're a little misguided. Keep looking, but we still can't find it. So go ahead, baby, just ride it. You know me, you've been solid. I'm here till you find a new body. I'm here till you find a new hobby.
I might have been muted. I was most likely muted. Let's redo that. So good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on this planet. It's most likely going to be Sunday. Sunday is the day where I do my market preps on a higher time frame, profiles, do a little recap for myself, go over the levels, see what made sense, did the levels make sense, and then create a new plan for the upcoming week. So yeah, I thought to do it live this time, see what happens. So without further ado, let's see what happened last week. Put this here. All right. All should be good. For some reason, I'm super thirsty. All right. So last week, value area, maybe a little more flashy of a color. Value area, very important levels, and then the POC from last week. We were unable to trade outside of value. So for me, for longs, once we start trading here, the most obvious long is when we break that level with conviction, spend time above, and then see the buyers' aggression towards higher levels here. That clearly didn't happen. We basically, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think Thursday was the day we dropped. Yeah, we basically chopped around here for a long time, unable to push through. Eventually selling off with conviction, and then the trade made sense towards the lows here. Excuse me. But then initially targeting those that weekly point of control and then for potential continuation towards the lows, and then closing the week basically in the middle of it all, or like basically at the POC from last week. So very balanced price action at this time. I do expect once we start, especially these lows, if these break, this is going to get really volatile. And then for upside, yeah, especially above that prior weekly aggression here. Let's see if that made sense. So here we got like the RTH profiles, put on some weekly levels. Monday session here. So Monday we open up bullish above that, or at that value area high from the prior week, Friday. Finding buyers trading towards that value area high on the week. And then basically a whole week unable to push through. And then eventually start trading lower, breaking that value low here, trading towards that POC. And this is basically where we find, we find balance here. We try to initially push towards that value area low, unable to keep pushing through. Apparently still a cheap price here. Price again towards that prior weekly POC. Chopping around, so very, very balanced here. Especially once we start trading above or outside that value from last week, things are going to be way more clear. Regardless, I'm just going to create a... Let's not open my email. New plan. All right, so let's see what can stay. Let's see here. Let's first just start with start and just mark out the value levels from the current or the last profile with its POC here. Value area low. So we could, in theory, merge those low profiles together to create a composite. But I'll wait for that. If we stay in range for the next session, the next week, I'll probably start merging. Not just yet, but it could be a thing. Value area, high-low, point of control. And then the closest level for me to start. So for example, if price were to keep rejecting the current value from last week, as what we basically are doing, I'm looking for the aggression on the in X's here. I'm looking where the buyers were most active. Basically this spot, basically at a high volume node from that X's level, and mark that out with an extreme. So already starting to get a plan here to guide me to the downside. If we are unable to trade back into value, so we're basically, as we are now, rejecting value. If we lose that aggression level, this level where the buyers were most aggressive, and we start rejecting that or trading below, I'm looking for range low here combined with that value area, like so. I'm just going to use the value area low from that session. The low from last week makes sense, but I'm not going to put two levels that close together. That doesn't make any sense. Not on these higher time frames, at least. I just need this for a general guide overall. So again, if price fails here upon open Monday, we trade lower, we lose that aggression level, we see sellers. I'll be targeting that value area low from prior week, combined with that range low. If we continue selling off from this, I need to zoom out for this. So there's two levels I'm kind of watching here because these are major lows on higher time frames. This is the buy aggression on that low where we basically bounced from. I really like that area for confluence. If you really start selling off here, it's gonna be getting really volatile. So that level I'm keeping there. And then I'm gonna be looking for the aggression basically somewhere around here. In theory, I should not be using these levels, but yeah, I think I might just keep it simple for myself, remove it, because if price were to drop below these levels overall, I'll be looking for that range low from that session. Yeah, yes, I'm gonna do it like that. So we'll recap here. Right, if we Monday we open, we keep rejecting the value area low, we trade below the aggression from last week. I would be looking for trades towards that value area low from the other week and last week's low, basically. If you lose that level, looking for the aggression where price bounced on this aggression. So basically where the buyers were most aggressive in prior weeks profile on the bottom. If we start flushing this, I'll be looking for the lows from mid-December or November. Mid-November, damn, that's a while back. So this is going to be starting to looking really bearish, and if price were to go there, I'm expecting a lot more volatility than we're already seeing. So that might be interesting. But all right, so we reject current value, lose the aggression, trade towards that value area low, lose that aggression in this profile, we lose that. I'm looking for the lows here. If we keep selling off, I got a weekly profile with a naked point of control. If you lose that, I'll be looking for that value area low. If you lose that, I'll be looking for that range low, which is with all these lows here. It's going to be looking really spooky if we start trading in these levels. And maybe I should have put numbers on all those lines. Let me know if that's something of interest. All right, zooming back in and going for the bullish case, bullish scenario. There's obviously a ton of probabilities that can play out. But in case of the bulls, so whatever happens here, if we immediately regain value, or if we initially sell off, bounce, and afterwards regain all those levels. So at first, I'll be looking for, if we regain prior value, I'm looking for the POC and a move towards the other side of value. If for whatever reason we do not reject, because there's always a probability that we reject here and go back down, stay range bound. If we continue here and we see trades price trading above prior weekly value area high with conviction, I'll be looking for so normally I look for aggression on top, but the biggest aggression here on top is in value, and that's going to be really close towards that value area high in that POC. So in general, I'll be looking for this to be a major support resistance flip. So I'll be removing that aggression level. There is a POC there. There is a POC. So I'm looking for, what I'm looking at is this high volume node, that POC, and I'm looking for that aggression here in that high volume node. Yeah, I'm gonna use that one. Excuse me. So recap. So for whatever reason, we trade back into prior value from last week. I'm looking in general for trades towards that POC and that value area high. If we continue, in general, there's going to be levels here like it's low volume node, but overall, it's going to start looking really good to trade towards that aggression here. Repair this poor structure, because this is very poor structure. We probably go the same way back up that we came down if we start trading inside of these levels. So a move towards that aggression level here at first. If we breach that, I'll be looking for the range high. Let me see here, range high, do get interesting. Let me wait. Let me see what's up here. Because you can see the aggression here. There's a ton of sell pressure. So I kind of like to put my levels on levels where there's a ton of volume. It's more obvious. Yes, you can put it at that range high, which makes sense, but there's not a lot of volume in down here. So I'd rather use on my weekly profiles these levels with volume. So again, if we trade outside of prior week's value, I'll be looking for that aggression level, high volume nodes, sell pressure level. If you regain this, it's going to be looking really bullish because the sellers are losing this game. Again, if you keep pushing, I'll be looking for that value area high with those sellers on it. If they lose, again, bullish, I'll be looking for way more up towards that range high. And I think that's already going to be all-time high territory. Yeah. So again, this is the all-time high week. So if you regain all these levels, then we're already back into, yeah. So if you regain this, that's going to be looking super, super bullish. Yeah. And just like that, I made a plan for last week. So it's not hard to do. It's just something you have to be consistent with and use in the same way every week by week, month by month. And then this can be an amazing guide to help you guide through those session profiles. Let me see. Just like last week. But last week is just a perfect example. All these sessions are RTH profiles. If you lost, or the opposite, if you understand that, damn, did it already switch the levels? Yeah, it did. Oh, good. The prior value area high was in the same spot. If you understand that the value area high is here and we start to reject on the session profiles, and you understand that the probability is that we will do a complete value rotation, more edge, or more, how do I say this? Trust in the edge. Yeah. All right, let me see. Let me see if anyone got a question, because I'm already done. It's that quick. It's really not much to it. just follow the volume. How to determine how tall and where to plot the boxes. Boxes. Oh, you're talking about these value area boxes. Okay. This is something that gets plotted by the indicator itself. So I'm not sure if you use DeepCharts. In DeepCharts, this is named the business zone. But I'll explain you what to look for. Oh, you're on Athos. So what it basically is just to create a zone, an extreme on, damn man, let me draw a box. An extreme on value. So for example, this is value area low. You take the value area low and then you draw it towards a low volume node or a high volume node. That's basically the zone that it creates on the highs and the lows. So it gives you more of a zone to reject from instead of just a line. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't really use it like it was just on, but it's something I do for my own, just without the indicator. Where's my daily profiles? I basically only use it on my overnight profiles because everything else, it gets too messy. For example, here on the weekly, all these levels already become a zone for me. So when price starts to trade towards this value area low, for example, even though you can draw it towards that low volume node to create a box, in general, it's gonna be a zone for me. Like only on my low time frames, basically my overnight profile. That's the only profile where I use or draw the boxes to create more of a zone. On my daily and weekly profiles, I don't really use it. I'd say, to answer your question, use it on the profile that you use most intensively. That's what I would use it on. Hope you're doing good. I hope in the future you'll make a video about reading volume profile in detail. Volume profile is very nuanced. I try to explain as good as I can during the streams, and as in now, yeah, I try to do my best. Can do, but I already moved those levels. Could have done like a recap from last week. We'll see. We'll do that maybe next time. But yeah, overall, last week, super balanced, very big candles. It's not going to change anytime soon, I think. And especially if price were to, for whatever reason, especially that weekly aggression, everything under here could be quick moves towards the lows here. And if you start losing these lows, I think we've seen like 100.1 minute candles, but I think that's nothing if you start trading there. To be seen. As it stands, there's a big probability that we will just regain, retest higher value. We'll see. We'll see upon Monday, upon open. I really should put numbers on these profiles, on those levels. I'll make sure next time if I do it live, I will use the numbers, make more sense to you. Right, I think that's it for the weekly profiles. Not much more to do on a weekly base. Could do maybe the session profile. But this is something I like to do usually before the market opens up. But basically the same thing. Mark out value area high, value area low. Let me do this different. So from a session perspective, I'll be looking at this. So value area high, value area low, get the POC. So one thing that stands out here is there's a lot of buying going on that POC. It's going to be a key level here. And then I'll be looking for the aggression on top, where the sellers were most active outside of value. And the same thing from the bottom. But then we look for the buyers. And then if you continue or combine this with our weekly profiles, this is the wrong weekly profile. This one. So you already can see that it gets confusing pretty quick if you put too many lines on each other. That's why I don't like to put the lines on my chart. Like I just have it displayed on a different screen to keep me on the right side of the narrative. But to display this, you can already see if we start regaining the aggression from the sellers and the value area high from last session, it's going to be the low of prior weekly value area low. So if we open up above these levels or start trading above these levels, it's going to be looking really good for trades towards that POC right there. And on the flip side, because we basically rejected this on the end of last week, on the flip side, if we start losing the value area low, especially that aggression level combined with that target, let me see that target. First target, that was a value area low from last week. Okay, so if we start losing these levels, super bearish. And at the flip side, we can like reject, regain for longs towards the upside. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see upon Monday what she does. It's a holiday though. I might trade. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I want to. But it's the volume is just not consistent enough to put risk on, I think. How to combine it? You're asking a lot of questions here, sir. It's basically a top-down approach. So I start profile-wise with a weekly, then to a session profile, and then to the overnight profile. And then I'll take entries from the opposite side. So I'll start low and go up. It's very nuanced. It's not something I can just explain very well in like 2 minutes. I might think about creating something like a video, but I have to think it through how to explain it, because it's not that easy to just explain it in 2 minutes. And if you're in the Discord, I'll try and keep you up to date to what I'm looking at. And especially during the streams, I will try and remind myself to share all that information. But it's just the weekly profiles. Those are just the bigger picture, right? If next week we open up inside of value, I just use this as a narrative wise, as a story. Like I understand, right? We're opening back up here. If I'm on lower time frames, lower profiles, I see something bullish. These targets might be in play, so that might give me more edge, more confidence in the direction of the trade. That's the only way I use that higher time frame profiling. I'm not taking exact entries on those levels. You could, but it's not something I do. I just use it as a narrative. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week. And then next weekend, we'll just go over this profile, Stino. Just remember this. And then next week we'll go over what happened, what the coming week, what's going to happen. See if things made sense. See if the levels made sense. And then the more you look at those things, look at it, the more it's going to make sense. You'll get it. You'll get it. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at here. Any questions? Shout out in the Discord. And yeah, see you tomorrow in the stream. Peace.